Durag Diaries. Yo, people, welcome back to Boardroom Talk. So we're back with the gang. We're talking about everything Spurs. A bit of therapy over here more than anything, to be honest, because, hey, this might be the first week in a long time that we're meeting on good terms. You know, like there's been a few wins, 3 in a row, back to back. It's feeling nice over these sides. For me, anyway, I can't lie. It feels very good because it's been a long time, 18 months exactly. But before we get into any of that, as you can see, we got to welcome the first guest. He's finally made it back. He had time for us today. Jacob, how you doing?
Hey, I'm fantastic. How you doing? Very good to be here. Obviously with the boys, Ash, Alex, and then whatever other gentlemen want to join us later. That'll be fantastic as well. But I'm doing good. Had some time. Luckily got the wife here early enough to where I could join the show on time and not just join like the last 30 minutes and elongate the show inappropriately by, everyone's like, okay, we're trying to wrap up. And then here I am just rambling about something. So nice that I could get on time to ramble about something.
No, definitely. It's good to have you here from this jump. And it's going to be a good one today because we got loads of different opinions. Yo, Alex, Mr. Box Office. It's been a while. I think it's you missed the last one, but finally got you back here. How have you been?
I'm good. I've just been benching, so I'm all good. I'm all good here. So
he's got that extra chest in. He's feeling that extra pump in his chest today. Yeah.
So yeah. Spurs are Spurs. Same Spurs, different day, innit? Like Dan says from the Hotspur Hood. So like.
I'm sure the people have got to know now. It's hard to see an enthusiastic Mr. Box Office. When we do, there's definitely something wrong over there. We're gonna have to see one day maybe. And then Mr. Spurs Kings himself, man like Ash. How you doing, bro?
Boy, if Box Office is doing chest, I'm doing legs, bro. My back though. I gotta be careful with the legs. But yeah, man, I'm in the gym too. And man, we're here, man. We move, man. A little light Spurs chat. We did get that W, so let's talk on it, man.
A couple W's and just making it in time for the start of the show. We couldn't do it without him. Your favorite ex-specialist is here on the spaces, cooking the guys and giving knowledge. Man like Jay, how you been, man?
Oh no, it's not internet. It's still not playing up, isn't
it? Alex kills me. Jay, are you with us? Nah, I think the smile is, but nothing else. Oh my god.
Sorry, I'm cutting.
Yeah, Jay, I think you refresh, do a refresh, and then come back in. You'll probably be sorted. You seem to be.
Well, the good news is that smile's so nice that not even a bad Wi-Fi connection can stop it from getting shown.
I'm still kind of in slow mo. Like I can't tell whether or not I've like the speed of me is caught up yet. Like okay, that'll kind of work. Ish.
I think you're back. I think I'm in line with you. I don't know. Yeah. You're back now. I think you're in. You're here.
Just
about. Barely.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, man. Look.
Okay. It might jump for me, so it's like.
Yeah, Jay's definitely behind. You're gonna have to do a refresh. You're definitely on the slow. Definitely.
Yeah. Give me a second.
These Ange memes are killing me. You're gonna have to keep them coming up, Jacob. But I think let's start. Most importantly, big win on the weekend. Of course, it was only Ipswich before Mr. Box Office tells us we know you have to beat these teams. I know, but it's 3 wins back to back. I guess like we got the question in the title, have we turned a corner? And that's open to the panel.
Who wants to go first, man? I mean, what's funny? It's like boys are coming back. The lads are coming back. You've got Solanke. I don't know if you've not seen that. Pictures of Romero, cootie, as my guy would say, in the training. So it looks like there's more options to choose from on the bench. So the funny thing is, obviously, we got City next, and apparently, we're their bogey team, innit? I don't like to use the word bogey, innit? But this is a game where historically we get the job done. So that could be 4 wins in a row. Then Bournemouth next. I think Bournemouth have to play the cup before us. So technically, that could be 5. If you're actually watching the games currently, I know Palace are doing a number on Aston Villa. Crazier things have happened, isn't it? Crazier things have happened. And Brighton and Bournemouth, Brighton are currently beating Bournemouth at the moment. So it's one of those things where there's going to be a lot of inconsistencies, a lot of surprises in the league. Can Spurs get a run together? Maybe. My question is, in between all of that, there are some games, and lots of fans want to prioritize the Europa Cup ahead of the league. And now I'm just thinking, if he doesn't go strong in Europa and he doesn't rotate in the league, are fans going to kick off? That's what I want to know. Do you know what I mean?
Before we start there,
Fans will kick off regardless. Doesn't matter
joining
what
us.
happens, what is done. Fans will kick off.
They probably will. But we do have another guy joining us. Big up to the guy, another G. It came pretty much similar time in. But the Hotspur Cave G. How you doing, bro? Fresh trim, fresh hair. Look at him. He's feeling himself.
Sorry I'm late, man. Though. I was getting my hair done. I had to do the dash, but I'm here. Big up everyone. Jacob, Ash, other Jay, Alex, Jords. Big up, man. I hope you man are good. I missed what the start of the conversation was. You might have to fill me.
No, it's fine. We literally just started. It was just first question.
You'll catch up. You've not missed too much.
Yeah, literally. Literally just started off on the weekend. But then Ash posed a question to the panel. He was basically saying we've got quite a few games in between our Europa League fixtures. A lot of people right now want to prioritize the Europa League. I suppose that it was a question to the panel on where everyone's heads are at. But I suppose, I think because we're going to get onto Europa League chance and actually talk about that in deep detail, let's save that question. Hold a thought there. Let's just take it back to the weekend for a second. I want to go to Alex first because Alex, as you know, it's the hardest man to impress on YouTube. Go on, Jay.
Ash, I just realized something. When Jords asked a question, and a question that lends you to believe either you're going to give a prediction, an opinion, or a combination of the two. And I'm thinking, did Ash really even offer an opinion, or did he just take it, kind of shake and bake it like a little, and then throw it back out as another question? So I want to know, Ash, what is your actual opinion?
It's the host in him. It's the host in him. He's trying to ambush.
You know why? Yeah, do you know what it is? Because I don't think it's as clear cut as people think. Now, I want to say that Spurs have turned a corner. I want to be positive. But I looked at that performance because that's what I think George wants to get into. He wants to get into the performance.
Yeah.
And I was looking at Ange Ball, and Ange Ball for me was the third goal when Maddison and Spence linked up. That for me was an Ange Ball. But the other 3 goals was more like transitional, counter-attacking, long ball, kind of not Ange Ball, if that makes sense.
But can I just say quickly, just to load into the question, because I'm looking at it from the point of view of saying, okay, but it's almost like a rhetorical question that you're asking yourself, because the true question would actually be, if you gave me Ange Ball, which is the same as what Ange Ball was last season, in spite of everything that we've seen, that to me would indicate the manager's fucking insane. Yeah. So when you say, "Oh, is Ange Ball this?" I'm like, the interpretation of Ange Ball should be different based on what he's been through. If he played the same way now as he's been playing, he actually is. So I don't expect to see Ange Ball. In fact, I actually want to see more solution-orientated play. I'd rather see a long ball and Son one-on-one, because Godfrey, he made him look like mincemeat. So when you're saying this, it's like, I actually want to see the manager has to evolve and adapt. And for me, I see a lot of things where the manager should actually understand energy in this team is probably more important at any one time now. So if he's got players that can run and are fit, putting those players in is better than putting 90%, 80% players in. And I hope he's learned that. And that will mean different profiles, will need different.
I hear that. I hear that.
I'm just saying, like, if you look at Ipswich, right,
Mm.
how they play, this is a game where we've lost similar games.
Right.
Yeah, where we've lost to teams that have put us in the same pressure and situation as Ipswich put us in. Do you know what I mean? We succumbed. Like when we've played teams with intensity, energy, crowd behind them, away from home, a lot of times we've buckled. So to me, like this is good. This is you can say, like, does this mean that our press is coming back? Our ability to turn the ball over.
Well, this is it because
Don't you think though? Gone even just at the start of the game. Yeah, the first 10 minutes, the chaoticness of it was very similar to what happened at Aston Villa. And you could say many would say we was lucky that we didn't concede.
We were lucky to not be 1-0 down. We were lucky
to not be 3-0 down. I think Delap had 3 chances in the first 10 minutes.
But game state. Like if he scores the first one, the rest of it's
100%.
The first one goes in, then the rest of the chances.
Yeah, we're doing semantics when we say it could be 3-0. But I think the overarching point is that I think we grew into that game. And the Ange ball started to play out itself, and it started to look better. But Ange ball, which comes with it, is the start of that game. The chaoticness, the positional looseness at the back, because it seemed like
you're saying that's part of Ange's tactics. Hey guys, in the first 5 minutes, just run around like a bunch of children chasing a ball. That's what we're saying.
No, but don't you think?
I don't think anyone does.
At the start of the game, for them to push up so high, and
it is.
The midfield.
I don't think
it is.
No, I'm talking about the calamities in our own and our defensive third. Like, why is it that everyone looks like they're trying to direct traffic rather than getting in their position? Is that a directive of Ainge? Is that players being out of position because going forward? I mean,
do you think all the players know exactly where they need to be?
Not all the time, especially when our starting 11 hasn't been consistent for the last 6 matches.
Oh, so do you think that, and obviously, just in terms of your thoughts here, do you think that is player incompetence or lack of tactical detail?
I would say lack of time on the training pitch, number one, with a solidified starting 11. And once you built that cohesion, then you see a lot of less of those schoolboy errors that I'm talking about. That, like, it just seems people don't kind of understand what each other are doing for the first. Yet, like you said, versus Ipswich, we looked like we didn't know where each other were trying to be. We couldn't hold on to the ball. We were looking out of sorts when we were tracking back. So, to me, I do see it like both ways. It could be the lack of tactical precision in regards to the players executing it or the message being delivered. But I don't subscribe to this notion that, because Ainge, I don't like him, look, they're all calamity in the first 5 minutes, therefore that's all Ainge's fault. Like, a lot of things could be true at the same time and not just be the one.
Jacob, don't you think that we have to acknowledge that there's a pattern in a lot of our games, that we start off games really slow and teams come at us and they come out the blocks and they look like they've had an open chance within 2 minutes? That's not normal for a team.
Absolutely.
Shouldn't open up our defense so easily, so early in the game.
While I do agree with that, I would also say if we're looking at patterns, I would look at the consistent changing of the troops in the 11 and where they are. Kulu one day's a winger, and then he starts drifting centrally. It's like, no, wait, you're supposed to stay out there on the wing. You're a winger right now. You got Archie Gray playing left-sided center back, then right-sided center back, then left back, right back. You got players that are kind of getting mixed and matched and thrown all over the place. To me, if we're going to talk about patterns and the inconsistencies or the consistencies of them, I would be bemoaned if we left out the other patterns, which are there hasn't been a solidified starting 11. Like, I don't know how. I just threw 6 weeks out there because that feels pretty comfortable to say that. Because, I mean, again, you look at our last 8 matches through all competitions, we won 5 of them. So we're 3 out of the last 3 in the Premier League. So I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's not as bad as everyone has made it out to be. I do believe we were at the metaphorical crossroads there when we were 13 points from 18th, 13 points from top 5. That right there is an indication of, one, our lack of ability to get results in the league, and then overall just the league's kind of shit form.
Yeah.
You know what? I do want to just quickly add to what Jacob's saying. I get what you're trying to say, but we can't act like, okay, maybe it's not as bad as you think, but if going forward, it can't continue. We can't start games chaotically. Now, I think, excuse me, I believe that this is just something that comes with the way we play. I think that it's a mental thing as well with the players. I think it takes them a second to calm down in the games, a lot of the games. I don't necessarily think, and just saying to the players, right, first 10 minutes, just run around like headless chickens. I think it's a mentality thing from the players themselves. And I think it's because we don't have anyone on the pitch. We need a manager on the pitch as well as on the touchline. Someone who's actually just going to calm everyone down. And unfortunately, we don't have that. So I think there's a lot of factors that add into why we start games so poorly. However, it can't continue because we saw Liverpool exploited us starting the game shaky by scoring early. And it will happen. It will continue to happen. Was it Villa that scored in the first minute of the game as well?
First minute, yeah.
Again, we see it at Villa, right? So these things, and again, I agree and I understand what you're saying about not having a starting 11, but we've conceded goals in the first 5 minutes of game with Mickey and Romero.
We've also scored in the same manner as well.
Yeah, of course.
So it just depends what version of Tottenham show up.
But I'm just saying that these things are consistent. Like these things haven't just been because we're missing our starting 11. These things have been happening when we had our starting 11 as well. I'm just saying it's just something to think about. Maybe.
Well, while I do agree, again, when we go back to the beginning of the season and etc., Solanke had just got here with 2 weeks of preseason, I think it was, which is an atrocity from this club's handling of transfer. Because if we're going on a damn trip and Solanke's our number one target, you damn well better be signing him and bringing him along for that trip, in my opinion. And a failure to do that, and we did it with Van de Ven the summer before, so like this is a common theme that we do, but it took him a second to get going with us, then he gets hurt, and then we also tried Son through the middle, then down the left, and then when Tell got here, we did that again, Son through the middle and Tell on the left, and then as soon as he swapped it, Tell scored a goal. Obviously, it was in a losing effort, but it's still, to me, is like, I just see it, when you don't have a general base, a foundation to go off. What is our foundation right now? It's sometimes maybe Vicario, sometimes Kingsley, sometimes Forrester. You look at the right back, it's been Pedro Porro. He's been kind of a staple there, but I'd argue Jed Spence has been better at the right when he's come in. And then you look at our center backs, what is our base of foundation there? Archie Gray?
No, but not Angela. I'm even calling him Ange now. So Jacob. No, but the problem with Ange is because I even look whilst you guys were talking, I went and replayed that first little couple moments of the game just so I can actually again rewatch what I was actually seeing in real time. But the actual problem is when we kick off the ball, I don't know if you notice, every single time we do a kickoff, I hate when we do it. We do a long ball. I don't really get why we do a long ball forward.
Yeah.
And I don't really know who it's going to a lot of times. Like they just push it out to the wings, and then we're trying to win the ball up in a high press. The problem at that point is when we commit so many body forward, we literally committed our whole midfield. Bentancur's in their half. Even Udogie and Jed Spence were both high up in their half. Jed Spence then has to turn, but by the time they've got the ball and Bentancur's trying to track their runner, you've got Delap in a one-on-one with Archie Gray. This is the exact same situation which happened with Jacob Ramsey when Aston Villa caught us on the flip side. So I think the problem tactically is that we're pushing up so high early in the game that we're giving teams the opportunity to catch us in the counter press so quick. I'm sure, like, I wanted to go to Alex really quick anyway, because Alex, I suppose the first half was a bit back and forth and it ended off being 2-1. Was you happy with the performance at all, or did you think it was just a bit too close for your liking?
Listen, I think the problem I have at the moment is that I don't think this is Ange.
My God.
I don't think this is Ange doing this at the moment. I think it's more on the players deciding to calm down and recycle the ball, or someone's had a word with him, in my eyes, because we've seen these sort of games before when we played on the counter, and I mean, the first. Okay, I've gone a bit forward really. I need to wind it back a little bit. When I look at the first 10 minutes, for me, if Ipswich score, I think we crumble in my eyes, because okay, we can look at Danzo. Probably he's okay, right? He looks like a good defender. We have to see how he is the next couple of games, I'll say. Gray, when you put somebody on him, he looks like jelly. I've got to be honest, he's not a defender for me, and just shows you why he needs experience next to him, as far as I'm concerned. Spence, you know my feelings on Spence and what I think, why he's playing well. You just go back and watch Mr. Box Office TV, and I've said it on this channel as well. And Doji,
could you just give me a little sneak peek of how you feel about Spence? Because that was very foreboding. I don't know which way it goes.
Terrace, and I said it as well. I've said he's playing well because despite Ange. I've said it already, because he's ignored him for 6 months. So why is he going to listen to him now? You know what I mean?
I always find it weird that the first thing people say about Spence is that Ange ignored him. When are we going to act like
we did ignore him? We're not going to do this, Jacob, because look at what I mean. He's literally
just asking a question. Did we really ignore him? Because it sounds like he got a. This was a great conversation that was had over on the Hotspur Cave earlier too.
Jacob, we're not doing this. We're not doing this, because the thing is, though, yeah, he even said it in his interview. He said, "Oh, I was testing him." Oh, come on now, bro. You just opened yourself up and just showed me. You just showed me that I was right in all along. He said,
"Take the test." He took the test and he passed. Sounds like a good thing to me.
What do you mean by testing him? What do you mean by testing him? The guy
exactly what he means. He tested him.
The guy scored the equalising goal in the Carabao Cup, bruv. He scored in the Carabao Cup against Coventry. Literally saved your ass, bruv.
That's what he said. Yeah? Test time. You've been studying. I've had you studying. Take the test. He took the test
for the bloody Europa League.
He got okay. So real quick, there's a few parts there that are just.
He got injured in and around that Coventry game. I think just after the Coventry game, he suffered.
Literally, he did that in Coventry. He got a chance in the next cup, and then he was hurt in training, and he didn't return until after the following international break. And all that time, they're like, "Oh, Ainge ignored him," or they act like he did what Conte did to him, which he didn't do any of that. Again, testing someone comes in different forms, shapes, and all. It's not revisionism. I'm literally giving you context to the point you made.
Let's not do revisionism,
because you're just giving a blanket umbrella of where Ainge ignored him. That's not true. That is not true.
Fact, Bob. It's fact.
That's not. That's just an umbrella that you use to hide yourself.
Do feelings, Bob.
You can hide behind the umbrella, but I see you.
Bro, facts don't do feelings, bro. You know what I mean? Facts don't.
So why are you getting in your feelings when I ask a question?
So let's look at this then, because you wanna bring on to the point then, right?
Yeah, I'm bringing up the Judge Spence point. I'm just saying, like, how is that on Ainge?
He kept on playing Poro. He kept on playing Adoji. He kept on playing bloody Romero.
When there's not a healthy backup right back, who else are you supposed to play?
When playing well as well. So if we want to go there, we can go there all day long.
He was hurt. That's what I'm talking about. He was injured.
Let's talk about your favourite. Let's talk about your favourite. While we're on the subject on Ange, yeah, because we need to talk about Ange, the saviour. What I'm told that he's on a great run of 3 wins in a row, which made no difference whatsoever, by the way, because there's no pressure on him whatsoever. Because we all know what he needs to do this season now. We all know what he needs to do this season. What does he need to do, Jacob, this season? What does he need to do now this season to achieve something, to make sure he's here next season? Let me answer that question now, Jacob. Sorry, Jords, but he chimed in, so now he's got Mr. Box Office attention now, bro. Yeah,
that's what we want.
Let's answer the question now, Jacob. Yeah, what does he need to do now? Yeah, to make sure he takes next season. Answer the question, bruv.
I think he just keep doing exactly what he's doing right now, which is rattling the haters, proving the doubters wrong.
Wrong answer.
Boom.
Win the Europa League, bruv. Win the Europa League. Yeah, because that's what.
Well, you asked me the question, and I provided you the answer.
Well, that's a wrong answer.
Which part of? I gave you an umbrella-ass statement, just like you gave me, which is there's a lot of intangibles that I could say, oh, well, part of my umbrella was winning the Europa League, or it wasn't. Who knows? But either way, here's what I'm showing. Like, you're just using that to shield the overarching fact of like what you've always said, which is you just don't like Ainge Postecoglou, and that's fine. But don't make up things like he ignored Jed Spence. It's just not true.
I mean, but like to be fair, right? what does the context of ignore mean? Like we're not being literal. We're not like, oh, hey, morning gaffer. Oh, fuck off, mate. Like, do you know what I mean? We're not doing that yet. It's like, it's literally like to say ignore is, and I think Alex has a point because Spence saved not his job, but that our run in the League Cup was quite a lot down to Jed Spence's performance against Coventry when he came on. And I know he had a knock and stuff after that, but he didn't get an immediate chance after that. Now, he can say he was testing him and everything like that. That's fine. I'm saying I saw a player that really stepped up in a difficult moment for the team and then wasn't seen again for a little period of time. So if you say ignored in that context, I'm not rushing to defend the manager. Do you see what I mean? I'm not necessarily saying he was ignored, but I'm also saying that Alex has a point. If he said ignored, I would give Alex a pass for that comment. I wouldn't take him to task and say that's unfair. Do you see what I mean?
I don't need a pass anyway because I think you can look. You read between the lines. You can read between lines. Let's talk about everyone's favorite now. Yes, Heung-min Son. Heung-min Son. Let's talk about Heung-min Son. Yeah, who has one good half. Who has one good half. Right, I'm waiting for Jacob's reaction here. One good half, right, and then everyone's saying he's back. And who's he playing against, by the way? Let's wonder who's he playing against.
Let's have a serious conversation about
Ben Godfrey. I'll have you know,
Ben Godfrey. Yeah, and what did he do in the second half? Absolutely nothing. You know what I mean? Yeah. By the way, yeah, for everyone who's Archie Gray lovers, by the way, it was a fantastic ball from Archie Gray. I will give him that. I'll give him that. Don't get used to it, though. Don't get used to Mr. Box Office being nice, though. Don't get used to that.
I'll have you right, Mr. Box Office. It's not the first time because Archie Gray did get an assist in the Europa League with a very similar ball over the top.
Oh yeah. Fair point.
No, Archie Gray.
Fair point, George. Don't get used to it, though. Don't get used to it. Correct to Mr. Box Office, though. Don't get used to that. Yeah.
Are we saying Archie Gray is a centre back, or are we saying Archie Gray is a midfielder?
Oh bloody hell! We know he shouldn't be a centre back, but
I think we all know he's a midfielder, innit?
But all right, let's get into that. Let's get into that because do you not think he's physical enough to play in the midfield? Seeing what happened to him on Saturday, and other games, I've seen him being bullied. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not saying he's the most physical specimen. I'm being honest, bro. I don't know if he can be the anchor, that physicality where he can win that. He can win us that he can win that 6 role. Are we saying that? All right, cool. Let me put it like this: are we saying for Archie Gray that if we play him in midfield, we're not looking for a number 6? That he is our number 6? Is that what we're saying?
Well, I'm being honest with you. I don't even know why he's not playing number 6 because I don't like.
Can I answer that, Alex? Can I answer that?
Go
Big
for
up Deji as well. The simple reason is Ange Postecoglou does not play with a number 6 because he wants all of his midfielders to squeeze up and suffocate our opponents. So even if he plays in midfield, he's not going to be playing in the role that he would probably thrive in. Ange is going to expect him to pick the ball up, to drive at players, run into space, to occupy, you know what I'm saying, occupy those little pockets. I know Maddison does that job. But again, how many times have we seen Bentancur floating, Bergvall floating, Bissouma, Sarr floating? Do you know what I'm trying to say? So, yes, we can sit here and say, all right, he should be in the midfield. But the reality is we're not going to see him in this midfield anytime soon. Now, does that mean he won't come on and maybe fill in? I'm not saying that he won't come off the bench and maybe drop into midfield or start the game at centre-back and finish in midfield. I'm not saying that. But getting consistent minutes in midfield right now, no. I also don't believe he's what we need.
Okay. See,
there's a reason for that.
Okay.
Number 6, I want him to be a warrior.
Hold on, before you jump onto the reason, I just want to, because, like, to me, I'm looking at it. I don't disagree with what you're saying, but if Ange does that, he's in big trouble next season. Yeah? Because if he even gets to next season, by the way. Because The point to me is that I mean, let's see the thing for me, Jacob, yeah, and I want to say this is that I don't like doing revisionism. If you've watched me, if anyone's watched me for any period of time, revisionism is the word I always use to talk about Spurs fans and football fans in general. They talk about situations after the fact and they change the goalposts in terms of what they actually perceive. For me, I know where I wanted us to finish this season. I thought we'd finish between 4th and 6th and win a cup. Yeah? So, when we're now in 15th place, the fact that we're in 15th place, injuries offers massive mitigation. But I cannot forget where I expected us to finish. I'm not running the season with no expectations. Yeah? I have to remember where I thought we would finish.
And yeah, we all have expectations, right? I mean, I didn't think me saying Ainge is going to be here next year is revisionism in the slightest.
Because our performance this season is enough. Plus, the let's say the last 10 games of last season, we bottled top 4. Yeah, let's call a spade a spade. We bottled top 4.
Well, half of the people were City fans, so I don't want to hear them complain about bottling top 4.
Don't do that.
Oh, sorry. You were rooting for another team to beat Tottenham, and then we didn't get our goal. Therefore, let's not do that. Got it.
Listen. It was wrong for some of our fans to want Arsenal to win that game. However, we did not make top 4 because of that one game. Yeah, it was the run in. But I'm not going to give the fans who wanted City to win a pass for the behavior in that game. No. However, it was not all in one down to that game that we didn't make top 4. We bottled.
I'm just saying, my personal opinion. We're all giving opinions here, right? Because you're saying you don't know if Ainge will be here, but that's not revisionism by me saying my opinion is that he will.
No, Jacob,
and by my opinion of saying half the fans turning on their own club is part of the problem and why his clubs are filled with losers.
Jacob, that's fair. And I think with support in that game, we could have beaten City. I genuinely do believe that.
Can I just say something? Because Jacob, you're making excuses now, right? As far as I'm concerned, yeah.
I was just pointing out facts like you like to say.
Listen, I'm sorry. We're not making excuses here, right?
Were you at City till July, though?
No. We're not doing this.
One at a time. Let's do one at a time so everyone can hear me.
We're not doing this, okay? As far as I'm concerned, yeah. If we looked at the beginning of the season, there were people out there that were saying 4th, 2nd, 3rd, with players that I said at the beginning of the season were not good enough, right? We're not good enough to do that right now, right? Because we're all saying Archie Gray, Burval, who after the game after the game on Saturday,
we're gonna speak about him. You're gonna have some apologies, Alex. I know.
It's cool. On Saturday he said, "Oh, he's now going to take over Bentancur, who now is going to have a new contract now." Who, for me, is a big mistake again. Yeah.
What?
You know what I mean? A big mistake again, because that's the reason why our midfield's absolutely goddamn useless. Right? And now I'm hearing excuses because he's had injuries and the other things as well, which I can't mention. You know what I mean? See what I mean? Which is his fault. Let's be honest here. You know what I mean? He put himself in those situations.
I don't think so. You know what?
Well, I don't want to go there, but you know what I'm saying anyway. Yeah. But the point I'm making is, though, right, is that, you know, Archie Gray not playing in midfield, right? When we heard the excuse saying that we don't need any midfielders, and saying that he doesn't play with number 6. He likes to develop leaders, right? This is his words, not my words. His words, right? You know what I mean? The fact that he says that he doesn't want to bring in defenders because he don't want to block the pathway to defenders that he completely ignored, and one defender that's on loan, that's a young player. You know what I mean?
Alex,
so I'm sorry.
I just say something excuses, well, man. It's not turning on the club, right? We have to like, again, I call this being a general. That's what this is, because you can't call it turning on the club when we're, as Tottenham fans, right? A lot of us went into the season 6th, between 4th and maybe 7th. That's a fair prediction for where most of us would have thought. We can't be in the middle of January sat 15th, 7 points off relegation, and not have a right to be absolutely furious about that. Yes, again, injury crisis, we can talk about that. But again, for what I expect my club, and maybe again, you can say my expectations are too high. That's fine. I'm willing to accept that. But what I expect from my club is for my manager to find solutions for these problems. every problem, he has battled that problem with another problem, and it's just led to more problems. That's the reality of the situation that we're in. So I don't think it's fair to sit there and say that we're turning on the club, because we love the club. What I see as turning on the club is saying, fuck the club, fuck the fans and that. Yeah, I'm Anjin till I die. When we're blatantly drowning under this guy. That is hating the club, because you don't want the club to succeed, because this guy isn't going to bring us success. That's the reality.
Can I ask a question just for Jacob? I just want to know what your expectations.
Just for me?
Just for you, my friend.
Wow, bro, thanks. Rolling the carpet out and everything.
Bro. And then Deji jump in.
And then he's like, Deji, you answer the question too.
Yeah, that's the question too. Yeah, I like that, Jay. Yeah. So I just want to know, at the start of the season, what was your expectation? Where did you think Spurs would finish? Like, what was your Was it top four, third?
Yeah. I mean, I remember, because like Jay, I don't like revisionism. I like keeping people accountable for the things that they say. Like, I'm City till July, but I'm going to complain about Timo in June. I don't want to hear that, because keep that same energy. If you're City till July, I'm waiting for July for you to bitch about Timo personally. But how my expectations with the window, I figured 7th, 6th, kind of right where we finished last season, would be more about where we would be, because I didn't think that the window did much to help us close the gap between those teams that finished above us, but I thought it helped do enough that we could likely maintain that. And again, to say we're drowning in this manager, I don't know that that's true, because again, before we were now 11 points away from the top 5. I think I haven't looked at the table recently, but it was like 11 as far as I understood it after Ipswich. And again, but we're not completely out of anything as far as I'm concerned, mathematically speaking. My expectations, it was 7th.
What
6th,
I really
7th,
wanted to
somewhere
find
on there
out,
with the deep cup run, and we had
at the deep cup. Okay, but what I really wanted to find out was what was like your floor. You've got a ceiling, so with Ange, you hope that maybe you expected 6th or 7th with the signings, but obviously as a fan, you'd hope that you'd finish maybe 5th.
You're trying to wrap this up in like a gift. Ash, you just want to know, at which point would you turn on the manager? What do you need to see from Tottenham?
I said if we play right and we really embody the philosophy, I think 5th is where realistically we could finish. But I was also like, this window wasn't strong enough, so I could see somewhere like 7th.
I mean,
that 5th to 7th is.
At what point would you turn on Ange, where you're no longer, don't have to be Ange out, but you feel like we need to bring up, not an Ange out, but ultimately you feel like we need someone else to better this club and take the steps forward.
When I know that the club has fixed the problems that have been indicative of this fucking club for this damn long, then I will start to blame the manager. I didn't blame Jose. I didn't blame Conte. I didn't blame Nuno. I didn't blame Poch. They were all put under the fucking shit. And guess what? They all performed just like the aforementioned words. So for me, it's not a surprise when a guy who's our 4th choice. Everyone forgets that summer we got denied by 3 different people, and we wound up at Ange Postecoglou, and he was like, all right, sure, I like a challenge. No one wants to come to this rotten club. And guess what? He came here, and it's not perfect. Oh, surprise, surprise. I'm not surprised.
Don't you think there would have been a point with some of these managers, the Contes, the Joses, maybe not all of them, but at least 1 or 2 of them, that you realize that these managers can no longer continue because they're incompetent?
Yeah.
I didn't think Jose was incompetent. I didn't think Conte was incompetent. Nuno, I would say I wasn't that upset about when we fired, but he just won Manager of the month prior to his sacking, so it was still kind of like a strange juxtaposition. But we were able to get the guy that denied us in the summer later, so we fired the guy that we hired to replace him in that record amount of time that it took for us to sign a manager. So, this whole club has been just so misran in every aspect that it's like, how do I blame a symptom of the problem?
Okay, but my point just on this, and I want to hear Deji go on this as well, is that I'm looking at, first of all, when you said he was the 4th choice manager, when we got Ange, I said Ange was the best manager for where the club was at the time, because of how his personality and where the club was, where the fans were. We needed a good communicator, and we needed somebody that could help. Almost, I call it the emperor's new clothes now. If someone is like, hey, it's just a 4-2-3-1 with pressing, but with a front foot. But to us starved, who've been playing like pragmatic tactical football, it was just very refreshing for us. But if you look back at the list that the club actually made, and the managers they wanted to go before him, Alonso, Slot, the club had an idea of what they wanted. And now I look back, he wasn't fourth because, he was fourth because the other managers have got a little bit more tactical oomph. Yeah? They're a little bit more, here you go, guys, this is what you need to do, rather than sort it out. So, to me, when you said he was the fourth choice, the first thing that said to me was, okay, so there is other options. I wasn't like, oh my God, like, fuck the club. I was like, that just shows there's other options. And each year, there's a different list of flavor of the month managers. Do you know what I mean? And with this club this year, the managers being more stable at other clubs, there's more of a run in it. Also, Spurs have given Ange 2 years. If you're any manager and you go to a club and you're getting 2 years with 300 to 400 million pounds spent, even if it is on younger players and whatnot, there's a lot of managers who would look at that and say, that's okay. Marco Silva would crawl over broken glass to get him.
But prior to that, we hadn't done that. That's my point. The reason why he is in that position in the first place is because we failed to do that with anyone prior. I agree with you.
Yeah, but my point now is that now you're looking at it and we're asking the question of what is it, like you're saying he'll be here next season. I'm like, well, he's probably going to have to finish 7th or 8th or win the Europa League. And I say 7th or 8th because that's the
both of those are perfectly doable. That's why I think he can stay here.
Absolutely. But what I'm saying is that to me, I look at this from the point of view of saying what he's done this season gives me more questions than answers. There's no as a logical person, there's no to me, there's no way there's anybody who looks at stats, data, logic in their eyes and has categorical faith in Ange being here next season or us or him being the right job. There's nowhere near enough evidence to back it. Do you know what I mean?
Hallelujah. Jay, welcome to the dark side.
No. I'm not on the dark side. What I'm saying is I'm neutral. I'm neutral.
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why, Jay, you're one of the favorite Spurs pundits. And big up to everyone locked on. Make sure you smash a like. Sorry for the late arrival. Man does work for a living. The truth of the matter is, this season has been utter bollocks. It's rubbish. Yeah, Jacob can tell you that. Mr. Box Office, Jords can. If we're all being real, we can see we don't trust this guy. Now, the excuse of the players being injured is a fantastic excuse. I was pleasantly surprised at how we beat Ipswich on the weekend. That's how bad we've been. And then I remembered, Ipswich is crap. Right now, I do not, like I said, I expected us to beat Piccadilly because they're worse than us. And we've managed to beat Ipswich. But if you think for 1 second that I believe with a full squad, healthy squad, that this manager can take us on a run where we can beat Bournemouth, where we can take on Villa, where we can take on Brighton, you must be mad. You must be smoking Budgie Banton on an empty stomach. I can't wait for Postecoglou to leave my club. He's not good enough. I can't wait for Bournemouth coming to our gaff next week where Areola slaps him up. And I think for me, that is the confirmation. Because if he gets slapped up by Areola at home to Bournemouth, I want Areola at my club that night. The truth of the matter is I agree with look, anybody, any Spurs fan, look, if we have to beef on this show tonight, so be it. Because you know what? Man had COVID and I thought I was going to die, so I don't give a damns no more. So let me tell you what it is. Any Spurs fan that predicted Spurs to finish lower than last season needs to check themselves. I'm being real. Because any manager must progress. There must be progression. Progression means you finish a position higher, couple positions higher. How can you say you were hoping for 7th or 8th? Yeah. If you were hoping for 7th or 8th, that means you thought this brother was rubbish, not good enough. The only thing that gives Postecoglou, that bought Postecoglou time, is the fact that Daniel Levy couldn't get anyone else. Well, he was our fourth choice.
I can't believe you're saying something. I can't believe we're saying something the same way. I can't believe it, Deji. I can't believe we're saying this. You just take the words out of the words. Take the words out of my mouth.
One second, guys. Let me ask you both this question. If Thomas Tuchel hadn't taken the England job,
he'd be in a job right now, and he'd be a Spurs.
Would he be our manager right now?
He probably would.
Because Paratici was looking at him.
I think if you had Nagelsmann and Tuchel available right now, either of them would have been snatched up. As Spurs have looked at them previously.
Nagelsmann already said no to us. He was one of that list.
He already said no, but that was a year and a half ago. I think Tuchel would have been one that we would have jumped on immediately.
The problem I have though, yeah, and someone made a very
hypotheticals
good
are great.
point.
There's just no way to prove any of it, but
yeah, but
sure,
Jacob, listen, Jacob, I love you, guy. I love you, mate. But the point I'm making is though, right? Even if he stays this season and he wins Europa League, we're still going to have the same problems next season in the Champions League. Because everyone was complaining about
it? What are you talking about? What's the problem with Europa League if we won it?
No.
I don't understand.
No, you didn't.
But if he just said that we win Europa, but then we're going to have the same problems, that logic doesn't transfer for me.
The same problems that we've suffered this
season. Okay, so what's the problems that we had in Europa if we won the damn thing? I'll take those same damn problems in Champions League too. Shit.
You're not listening to me though, Jacob. The point
I did. I've literally verbatim just spit back out what you said.
Not literally, Jacob. He basically said the issues that the team has had this season, you will see again in the Champions League.
And you've got to play your full team in the Champions League.
The reason I'm gonna just say that might not necessarily be the case is because, as Jay sort of pointed out earlier, is the way that Ange played last season is different to the way that Ange playing this season. We could see a potential development or an evolution of what Ange Ball is next year with new players coming in. Do I think that will happen? I don't think we've seen enough evidence.
Look at history. At the same time, it could. Look at history with this club. Right, and again, I'm not going to go into the ownership because that's another question, right? We all know what our feelings on that. The point I'm making is though, yeah, right? We know what the club's going to do in terms of getting players. We know what our philosophy is, right? We know we're not going to get top players, right? Even if we get Champions League, because we've seen the history with us in the Champions League before, right?
Spot on.
So where we're looking at this, right? He's going to have to develop. Now, I have not seen anyone get better this season, right? You can argue Jed Spence, but I made my point clear on Jed Spence. He ain't doing it because of Ange. Right?
I've got one player to throw at you. And I can't lie. It has to be spoke about. I was hoping we were going to get here eventually.
Yeah, go.
It was Lucas Bergvall. Bergvall. No. I genuinely think... I think we need to have a conversation because if you look at Lucas Bergvall from October and you look at the player now, they're two different players. They are two completely different players. You talk about physically mature, someone that's adapted to the game, the speed of the game. I feel like on the ball probably looks like one of our most comfortable midfielders at times and does the role that not many of our midfielders can do.
Yeah, but what did you say?
How much is that down to natural ability versus Ange actually specifically?
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say that as well. Exactly. And then also, the more games you play, naturally, the better you're going to get, especially coming from a League Two in Sweden. Do you know what I mean?
I agree with that. I do agree. I feel like there's certain young players that
it's crazy because even when you mention the progression that players make, there's still, no, that wasn't Ange. That's just nature. That's the rain when the sun was hitting that plant just right. Not the gardener.
I'm not necessarily, sorry, real quick.
I think Archie Gray's gotten better at every position as well. I think he's been better. I think Kulusevski actually has a role in the team.
There's a lot of flaws in young Gray. I mean, in Bergvall, I think defensively, he's still not there. If that makes
Thank
sense.
you.
I think that's one of the reasons why we conceded those 2 chances at the start of the game against Ipswich. Him and Kulusevski went for the same ball and left Bentancur all by himself. And I think that is A, because of the system, and B, because that's how he's coached personally. And so I think that is the flaw. And that's why when you're looking at Bergvall, he's not quite a 10. No, he's not quite a 6. And as an 8, does he have the discipline? Like, yeah, he's defending well because he's higher up. He wins. He's good at dueling. If you want to say he's good at dueling, yeah, he's good at dueling, winning that ball high up, etc. But in terms of being on the pitch, knowing where to be, in terms of when we lose the ball defensively, that part of the game, I'm not sure if that bit, and obviously it's too early to see, but is that coaching team going to be able to? And you look at the profiles on the pitch, where you've got, just to finish up, you've got Kulusevski. We start with Kulusevski and Bergvall, both attacking, and then you play Bentancur. He's not really a 6, right? When I say he's not really a 6, I mean that he hasn't got the defensive awareness to sniff out the danger, to know where to be positionally. Do you understand? To stop that block. That's why the whole fan base is screaming for cover, because we play with 2 defenders and we use that player to sit in front. Now, the manager decided to pick those players, and then the first half, I don't know if you guys agree, it was a bit up and down. I don't feel like we controlled that game. And I would think also Kulusevski was tired. I wouldn't have started Kulusevski. And I think that was the wrong player to start in that position. And alongside Bergvall, who needs to, as Alex always says, he needs to learn off someone. And if you've got no one to learn off in that role, you're going to make those mistakes as well. But that was one of the points. I think Maddison might have been a better option to start, because Kulusevski has been rinsed and repeated, just like Porro, and hence why Udogie got injured early in the season, and then Spence was ignored when he should have been rotating the fullbacks, which allows Spence to get his time, and then maybe Udogie wouldn't have been that for so long. And it's a similar position for other players as well. There was a lack of rotation on the fullbacks. There was a lack of rotation in the midfield at times, and you can see Kulusevski is looking tired, irrespective of him scoring that goal at the top. Do you know what I mean? And that's why I posed at the beginning of this session that we're having, how are we going to rotate when we're in a league versus Europa? It'll be interesting to see how we prioritize what and what not. Yeah, that's my point.
Okay, no, I'm glad you brought it back to that, because we're going to go into Europa League chances. But go on, Jay. I know both.
Just quickly on it, in terms of out of possession, I don't think there's any player in the team that's improved out of possession. Yeah, like in terms of like you can talk about, that's the biggest albatross around my neck when I think about Ange taking us forward. It's about how we play when we don't have the ball, and it seems that SARS actually arguably regressed out of possession over the last 12 months. If I think about how he was out of possession when I saw him against like Milan and whatnot, when he was drilled within an inch of his life from Conte, I then look at the rest of it. So, like, that's one of my biggest things. I think that it has gotten better. Actually, against Ipswich, I saw some signs of improvement out of possession. The players relatively looked like they were stood where they should be for a lot of outside the first 5-10 minutes, because that was diabolical. But after that, the players generally were in the right place. So,
Jay, do you not think though? Yeah, and I think everyone's kind of ignoring this, and I've been thinking about this for a couple of weeks. And hear me out, but do you not think minutes help players improve as well? Like, everyone's talking about coaching these players, and they need minutes is a lot of the reason why a lot of these younger players are improving, because they're getting minutes, they're getting consistent game time, they're adapting to the league, and you can see it now. Bergvall, yes, he's not the finished article, but you can see he's adapting to being a Premier League footballer. It's the same thing with Archie Gray. I don't personally believe Ange has improved any of these players. I believe that maybe if we was in a position where they were still getting fringe minutes and coming on here and there, then we can sit there and say, okay, look at him. He's performing really well, coming off the bench and getting minutes here and there. Ange is definitely putting in the work there. But I'm not going to sit here and give Ange credit when a lot of these players wouldn't even be getting minutes if we had a fully fit squad.
But do you know why I don't?
Hypothetically,
I don't think that's right,
right?
though,
Hypothetically. We always say this. We say things that are definitive, and they're not definitive. At least draw the line and say, I think,
Would
or
Archie
hypothetically
Gray be playing
speaking,
at centre back if Romero and Van der Ven were fit all season? No, I
no,
don't care.
maybe he plays a
I'm not
midfielder.
finished.
Maybe he
Hold
plays
on.
right winger.
Hold
We
on, let
don't
me land, 'cause
know.
I
No,
said
That's
we
what I'm
know
saying.
where he
about
would play
15
though,
and
Jake.
let
We know
everyone
he'd be
talk.
playing as right back. I think he was brought in to deputise at right back mainly, and that's
Okay. Then there you
that's where
go.
he played the majority.
Bergvall. If Bissouma was playing like the Bissouma of last season, right, consistent, being consistent, and again, these are just ifs and buts. Do you think Bergvall would be starting week in?
He would.
Out?
Do you know? Wait, do you know why he
No.
would though? Because we was briefed, and Alex knows. Because Alex, we've spoke about this many times. We was briefed at the start of the season that the reason we didn't sign a Conor Gallagher or a player like him, because that's who we was after for the whole of June and July. And Jacob Ramsey and these types of players, these midfielders that get everywhere. The reason we never signed them was because Bergvall has impressed the management team so much within pre-season. Now, we've all spoken about this, said that wasn't the right decision. We all acknowledge, and I think everyone in the Spurs fan base was upset with the overall transfer window and how it ended up playing out. But the one thing that we can acknowledge, and we have to acknowledge, is Bergvall stayed because he was going to be guaranteed minutes and he was going to play. I think that you can't be disingenuous now and say that he hasn't improved Bergvall, because if you look at how he's been used, Bergvall's played as a 6, he's played as an 8, he's played in a 10, he's played in a single pivot, he's played in a double pivot.
Those are just 2 out of a 23.
I understand, and I've sat here and questioned his coaching and the coaching team's
example.
Yeah.
24-man roster that's missing what that was at one point missing 14 to 16. Like,
I just think if you're
contextual evidence, man,
solely on that player in particular,
good either, bro. Let's have it right. The doggy was crap before he got injured. Solanke, okay, cool.
He was playing badly.
He was good. He
was having a very bad year, and by his standard, he said.
Romero was playing badly.
Romero as well, sure.
Romero again wasn't good before he got injured. That's
Davis has been our best defender. Davis has been our best defender. Right.
So my point is, can you name, right? Furthermore, how about this? Okay, let's take the 2 youngsters away, yeah? Barring those 2 youngsters, can you name 6 players in our team, in the squad, furthermore, not just to start, in the squad, that Ange has improved?
No,
but I think that's
better.
You don't need to name even 6. Look, I think let's just keep it real, guys, because I feel like, no disrespect, we're trying to allow for mediocrity. Do you get me? The truth of the matter is that Tottenham squad, as is, despite how poor the summer transfer window was, I agree with Mr. Box Office on that. If this brother was real, that's still a top 4 side. That's bottom line. What I've not liked and not enjoyed, and what makes this argument very difficult, is that the players are playing out of position. And so it's hard to criticize Archie Gray. It's hard to criticize Bergvall when they're not playing in their natural position. I think Archie Gray, I never want to see Archie Gray in defense ever again. Because if you look at some of the goals we've conceded in certain matches, it's Archie Gray's fault. But no one wants to say that. It's his fault, but it's not his fault because that's not his natural position. Football, I was speaking to a coach the other day that said it's 2 things. It's positional play and instinct. The instinct comes from doing the same thing in the same position over and over and over again. When Archie Gray moves from left centre back to right centre back to right back to left back, what does he lack? Instinct. That's why we've been getting killed with Archie Gray in defence. The same for Bergvall in midfield. When I talk about the Red Tottenham and I talk about Ethan Nwaneri being better than these 2 brothers, that's because Ethan's been allowed to play in his position and he's killing it. You cannot compare Mikey Moore, Bergvall, or Archie to that brother there. You just can't compare it, but that's not their fault. We haven't been able to see the best of their ability. So for me, it's poor. What I can tell you, though, is that this brother, let's not advocate for gambling. And I mean that legitly. Because literally, Postecoglou Ange ball is gamble ball. We go and gamble that if the Spurs players wake up on the right side of the bed, you're getting whacked. But waking up on the right side of the bed in the Prem is 1 in 8, 1 in 9 games. Do you get what I'm saying? More time, you're going to get whacked. Who here genuinely believes, sorry to just take the conversation left, because then you know if this manager's legit. You might have already covered it, so I do apologize, and I apologize to Jacob and all my fellow people in advance. Who have you believe we're going to win tomorrow?
Actually, you know what? It's mad because I actually think we're going to get a draw because I predicted we're going to get a draw. We could get actually a win, but you wouldn't be surprised if we lose as well. You know what I mean? You just don't know. I don't know. You don't know what to expect. You know what I mean? Because of our record as well. It's another thing as well, isn't it? And also, Deji, we're not under pressure to win. You see what I'm saying? When we're under pressure to win, you saw in the FA Cup. You saw in the Carabao Cup. You see what I'm saying? Right. I think we'll see in the Europa League. You see what I'm saying?
But can you see what we are saying? We're gonna win because of with their bogey team or because of the lack of pressure. None of us genuinely think.
No, do you know what? I think we play good enough football. I think we play good enough football to beat this Manchester City team. I think if you're being honest and you want to give the same criticisms of our team and our football, you just have to look at Manchester City this season to see how bad that they are. They have so many deficiencies. You look at that midfield.
Look at Brighton as well. When they're out of form, they stink as well. And it's not. You look at Brighton, City, and Spurs. You'd say out of all the three, if you could say which two teams are the most similar to Tottenham in the Premier League, you'd probably say Brighton City. You'd probably say Brighton City. Do you know what I mean? And all three of our teams, when we're off it, we really, really stink this season. So, you know, I think I agree with the overarching point of Spurs tomorrow against City. We're playing City, but I think I agree. I saw City go Bournemouth and lose. I've seen City have difficult games against Newcastle. No, they smashed Newcastle, sorry. But they've had difficult games going away from home in this run. I think if Haaland wasn't playing, I would literally be saying right now we're going to beat them. Like with no. Is
he actually playing though? I know that he's been dropped for the last few games, but apparently he was an injury.
Archie Gray in the back.
Archie Gray can't mark Haaland.
With Archie Gray in centre back, it's long for us.
No, but I look. Let's take it back for that team though. Let's take it back to where, because let's have it right. At the front, they're good. Savio and Doku, they're going to cook our fullbacks. Like, that's a guaranteed. I don't know if people watched Doku against Trent the other day. Man took him to the shop a couple times, bro. You know, like, I forgot that. You got to go back and get the milk. Oh, no, the bread now. You got to go. He took him to the shop so many times. 15 take-ons he completed in that game. The most ever in a Premier League game.
Yeah. Are you starting Udogie or are you starting Poro?
That's what I was going to ask. Who do we start at fullback to combat?
Oh, Doku versus Poro. Por favor. It's over.
I think you've got to play Spence at right back and the Doji at left back because he's not going to play. He's not going to play regular, isn't he?
I think the one thing that we know is that Dogi's minutes are being managed.
He might go Poro and Udogie. That's the.
I don't think he'll go. I don't think Spence gets dropped.
You can't do Poro.
I think what we're more than likely to see is Jed Spencer left back and Poro at right back, and I think that's because Udogie for one's not going to be able to manage the minutes. But if you put Udogie up against a Savio who's feeling himself right now,
if you're going to do that, you play Kulusevski, and I can't believe I'm saying this because I don't rate him still. I don't rate him. Kulusevski on the right, and then you have to put Kulusevski on the right then because you put Johnson there, you ain't getting no defensive cover. You ain't getting no defensive cover.
I would be confident I would actually leave Spence one-on-one with Doku. I would be like, all right, go enjoy the game. Do you know what I mean? Go have a battle with him. I wouldn't even tell Johnson to come back. I'd be like, because if it was Spence at right back, I would like. I ain't seen nobody twist up Spence. So come on, Doku. You can buy a ticket.
What you mean the little thing that Pedro Porro did? You know, they'll touch my knees to my ankles bit. You ain't never seen that? I've never seen that.
I'm telling you, Porro's been carrying an injury since that moment. He just didn't want to admit it to anybody.
I remember watching it. My knees hurt just watching it, just watching them buckling between each other. Trossard.
Nah, yeah, he felt that, but he couldn't admit to anyone that I've done the splits and now I'm injured. He just
can I ask you another question quickly as well? So Tell is just getting there, so I'm gonna give him time. But he's not exciting me. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I can't wait for Solanke to come back. Yeah. And I can't lie. I want to remember Son as a legend, and that's about it. That's how I'm keeping it. Because for me, there's a lot of confidence here, but when you break our team down, going forward is whack, bro.
You say that, but we're the second highest goal scorers in the Premier League.
I know you, but come
bro.
on.
But Ainge don't know what he's doing. We do that with Timo, Brennan Johnson, and the likes. But
I
Ainge
said
don't know
at the start of the season that Tottenham have one of the best attacks in the league. I said that, and I was on. People were cooking me. They literally
our attack score. We could look, the thing for Tottenham this season is
what you're not caveating it with, Veggie, yeah, is how bad is Man City's defense. Man City's defense is just as bad as us, if not more calamitous. They have so many.
Our midfield three has been the most. Our midfield three is the worst in the league. Who's our best midfield?
I agree with that.
Oh yeah, we know
but
this.
But this is the thing, though. This is where the battle is gonna be, and this is why it's gonna be such an entertaining game, because Man City have not settled on a midfield three because their midfield is one of the worst. They've got no legs in there. When they go up against teams that have high energy
three in the Prem, Spurs, we have the worst one.
I don't think that's true.
Who is your starting three? And I bet you.
I think for this game,
let's all say our starting three. None of us agree.
Oh, all right. Well, I'll say for this game in particular, but I suppose what I would go with.
Just your starting three.
Well,
it's hard, isn't it? Because I feel like it should be by game. But I'd
say default starting 11. Yeah. So for example, caveat it with if Kulu's not in the three. Is because he's playing right wing.
That's all right. That's exactly it. Because I don't know whether I need to start Kulu or not. Because Kulu has to play. But if we're gonna put Kulu out on the right, then it's gonna be
where's our goals, bro? Where's our goals?
if we're gonna put Kulu's
not even getting goals at the moment. The only reason
why he got the goal. That's why we need man like
not
Brennan.
Getting goals. He's got 10 goals in the league.
Oh, bro.
And 10 goals in
look at all these games that we lost and we didn't pick up draws and wins. If Brennan was there, he'd be getting his tap-ins. He might do.
Kulu is never at that far post. So there's that like whole shtick that we did for a long time just dies when he plays out there on the wing. I think Brennan Johnson gets a start purely because of that man of the match performance that he got. Not that I'm saying I think it's right. I would put Kulu out there for the defensive help personally, but like Deji was or whoever was saying, just put Spence on the right back. He ain't getting turned away from anybody. So you don't need defensive help. If you got Brennan Johnson ahead of him, let Brennan Johnson just run around and do whatever he does all day.
I agree.
Back to the midfield three, yeah. Let's all name our midfield threes then. I would go Bergvall, Bentancur, Maddison.
And Kulu right wing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I go Kulu, Bergvall, Bentancur.
Fairs, I'd go with that too.
I'll go Bentancur, Maddison.
I don't like
Kulu.
I'm going. You're going. Go on.
Kulu, Bergvall, and somebody else.
You got that somebody
else? Bentancur, Basuma.
Unless I don't know. It's got to be Basuma or Bentancur, but to be honest, I'm not happy with Bentancur, and I'm not happy with Basuma, so I'm just going to leave that bit blank.
Okay, I've got to make a decision here. So Maddison's obviously has to be there. And then you've got. I don't want to say Bentancur. I don't want to say
Maddison obviously needs to be there.
I don't think Maddison. This is my point. No. I don't think they can play together in midfield.
Oh, I don't. You say that, but when they had like a 3-game run earlier in the season.
Jay's right.
They had one bad game together, and then the plan was abandoned. Forever.
Yeah.
One bad game and it was abandoned. But I have had to sit through Basuma pivots.
I remember being really excited after that first really good match where it was Maddison, Kulu, and I think Bentancur or Basuma was our.
Yeah.
So it was one.
He tried it last season.
It was like, oh wow, this is really good. Then it just never worked again.
Yeah, we played Newcastle, and I think he left Brennan on the bench, and then he brought Brennan on, and he moved Kulu centrally, and Newcastle couldn't handle us. We were running riot against a strong midfield. Then we played against at home, and we smashed. I think it was Brentford or something, like with the same midfield, and the midfield didn't work once. Yeah, bad game. Yeah, obviously it was a bad game. I think it was Palace away even. It wasn't.
Oh, that was a disgusting game.
Yeah, but we get overrun with Sarr and Bazuma. We get overrun with Bentancur. It doesn't matter. Like, we were like, oh, these guys can't play together. Like when we play the other combinations, they're so stable and succinct. You know what I mean? They all.
Yeah.
And I think circling back to Deji's point, we all said different midfields.
Yeah.
But there was a few constants in that midfield, and let's talk about it. Bergvall was a constant in the midfield for majority of us. Why? Because I feel like the reason you can't start a Kulu and Matters because you need a Bergvall, someone who's going to get all around the pitch and cover the ground. And if you don't play Bergvall, the only other option for that is Sarr, because they're the only two players that are similar that can do the dog work.
Is this where someone like with you guys? This is where the issue for me within the summer goes, because. Like, you know, when you look at Liverpool, right, and you see that they've got a Curtis Jones and they've got a McAllister and they've got a Soboslai, and I'm like, we don't have that player. They've got three of them. Yeah, we don't have one.
But Jay, the reason why is because he wants all these midfielders to have everything.
He wants them to do everything. That's He has said that a few times,
and that's the problem.
Bergvall potentially, but he lacks the seasoning that Curtis Jones, McAllister, and Szoboszlai have from years of.
Curtis Jones has been years though. How long has he been?
That's what I'm saying. He's taken him years of football to get to this level, and that's not even counting players like Harvey Elliott. So I look at a player like an Andre Gomez or something, and I'm like, we should probably pick him up.
Angel Gomez, you're talking about?
Angel Gomez.
The problem is, I don't think we're going to go and get that specific player. That's the problem at the moment. I think they're still relying on those players that we've got already, and I think they're even thinking about some of the youth players that are coming back on loan as well.
I mean,
see what I'm saying? Because for me, I think the lesson is at the moment when you look at Spence, for instance, when he came straight into the team, right, for Conte, and Conte said what he said. Right, look how long it's taken him to get to where he's got to right now, and everyone now is saying Bergvall now is the future. When Bergvall, let's be honest here,
everyone progresses at different pace, so it's kind of apples and oranges.
But this is the point I'm making, though, Jacob, is that we're all saying now after only a few performances, right? When we all know what's happened with like players like Walton, for instance. Cole Palmer's having now his question marks as well now. You know what I mean?
Question marks are false question marks. The Cole Palmer one is just due to the expectation. A lot of
that's the point. That's the point, though, Jords. That's what I'm saying. When you play well your first season, right, then the expectations go up.
Yeah.
You know, it goes up. You see what I'm saying?
That's fair.
And this is where the test comes. You see what I'm saying? This is why I think it's a massive mistake, because the thing is that we all know what happened to Dele Alli. And I'm seeing Dele Alli in bloody Bergvall at the moment. Yeah, he's a different player, but Dele Alli had a lot of it.
I feel like I feel like with Bergvall, he relishes the challenge. It's not like I don't feel like I've ever looked at him, and maybe from that first game when he got hooked off within 10 or 15 minutes against Karabag, I think that at that point he was a bit disheartened, and then the games after that he seemed a bit too eager to impress. But I feel like what you've seen from Bergvall is a much more. He seems a lot like Archie Gray, mature than their age. They seem ready for this football, and they've been relishing the opportunity that they've had ahead of him. I feel like Bergvall's been playing good for the past 6 weeks. It's only just now he's got to a certain level of where I'm really starting to think that he stands out.
Is that because there's no expectations at the moment because he's a young kid? Because they all say when you talk about Bergvall, if you even say little something bad about him, you say, "Oh, he's 18. He's 18."
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And this is the thing. This is where I because listen, I've done this game how many times with Tottenham? Like you see how many young players have come through Tottenham, right? And this is why I'm always like thinking about it. You know what I mean? Because we all said this about Gil, You all said this about Gil, and when
No, we didn't. No, we didn't. This
I don't think anyone said
statements,
this
Alex.
about
I have to interrupt when you do that.
Let me land my point. Let me land my point. I know it's rattling you, but
your point's wrong. No one said I fucking hated Brian Hale coming here.
The point is though, yeah, right. Give me, right. Next season or 2 seasons in, right. Then we have this conversation, and then we can see whether we're right or not. Because at the moment, I think we're blowing too hot and cold, blowing a load too easy on it. Yeah, and also, right, we wouldn't be having this conversation if we were still in trophies right now. We're only in 1 trophy at the moment. We wouldn't be having this conversation right now. You know what I mean? With Bergvall, all you'd be saying is, "Oh, we're still in trophy right now. We're still in how many competitions at the moment? We're going to win it." You know what I mean?
You were talking about Bergvall when we were in all those competitions, though. So that's not true either.
Listen, I'm just putting the point in. You know what I mean? If it's a pipe
bomb, the last 2 points have been not true.
I'm still here for it, bro. You know what I mean? That's
bro. The last 2 points have just not been true. You said everyone said this about Hill. That's not true. And then you said, I freaking love you, Alex. I really do. But
I want to circle the conversation because I know guys got to go and we're not trying to drag this on for a bit too long. But I know Ash, before he jumped out, we went all around the houses, but no one actually answered his question. But I actually wanted to get around to answering the question, and I was waiting for him. We bring it back around Europa League. Now, it's pretty much the only way that Ange, I suppose, could save the season unless, like I said, he goes on a really strong run till the end of the season and we end up finishing in a strong place in the top half. Because once you get to 10th, it's only 4 or 5 points from 10th to 4th. So if he makes it into the top 10, then God knows what can happen from there. But just Europa League focused. We've got AZ Alkmaar, familiar faces, opponents we've already beat in the Europa League this season. Is anyone here actually confident, for one, of winning the Europa League? And 2, like going back to Ash's question, would you start to focus on Europa League over the Premier League and start prioritizing, players' fitnesses, minutes in that Europa League competition? Starting with you, Deji.
So the answer is no. I was pleasantly surprised to hear that we're the favourites for the Europa League. When I'm looking at that Tottenham team, can we play Real Sociedad? I'm not sure. Can we play Lazio? I'm not sure. And let's be real. Teams that win European competitions, generally speaking, and teams that win, prizes in general, there's momentum. I'm remembering the season when Frankfurt won it. They were good. They were good that year. We're not being good this season. So, and this idea, I understand it, but I'm just not buying that our team is all of a sudden gonna turn it on and we're just gonna start popping teams. But if it happens, mate, I'll be the first to be shaking my bum at the front of the queue. So the answer is we should prioritize the Europa League, because for me, if we somehow win it and get Champions League football, well, then he saved his job. We've done more than the Red Tottenham have done, the Spicy Spurs this season. And more importantly, I said at the beginning of the season, and I think we all said it, we don't care how Tottenham does it as long as they're playing Champions League next season. Now, as painful as it was, I don't mind this season should we win the Europa League. However, can I see it based on the team, based on how we play, based on the quality? You're not going to tell me because of Brentford. Billy's asking, how did I get so negative? Bro, I got so negative after watching Postecoglou destroy our team. You're not going to tell me because we beat Ipswich and Piccadilly that we are legit. I like my club to be legit. That's why I always prefer top 4 over some Mickey Mouse Cup. Do you get me? And
you did have the belief just a few weeks
ago. So
the
only way you're safe with this season is if Ainge does something no manager has been able to do at Tottenham for 60 years? 50 years?
Yes.
So what? So what? Yeah. Jacob, I'm like you, bro. We don't care about the history. We care about the now. Bro, right now,
it's true.
Whether we like it or not, if not for the fact Bournemouth lost tonight, these men could get Champions League. Let that sink in. Bournemouth could get Champions League football next season. What are we doing,
Bournemouth
guys?
and Forest in the Champions League would be
hilarious. Jacob, do you? Because the way you're talking, I'm just to put it out there, it sounds like you're confident of potentially doing this.
I'm not favorite. Whoever put the numbers that we're favorites to win Europa, that's crazy. I would never go that far, because to say we're favorites in any competition would be me just running with my own bias and personal favoritism, because I would never, because since I've been a Tottenham fan, every time we've ever been close to it, we fucking lose. So I don't have confidence in us being favorite in anything. However, I do look at it and say, why not? Why can't we? I've seen stranger things in football happen. You know, to your point that when Frankfurt won it, they did finish like 10th, I think, or it was they weren't having a good year.
Yeah,
so
they were sourcing in Europe, though. Would you say we've been sourcing
True.
in Europe?
No, they were very dominant in Europe, that run into that. So there is a point. Like, I do agree, but then I also disagree slightly with certain things. So like, a lot of things happen for the first time ever, and a lot of things are just patterns that will continue to happen regardless of how much you try to fight it. And at some point, maybe it's the hope in me that has got to give, because for so long it has been the latter for us and not the aforementioned. I would prefer if we start doing the things that never happen and we go against the grain, and I don't have confidence that we'll win it. No, I don't even have great confidence that we'll make it past AZ Alkmaar, because I just don't know what version of these. But these players have shown their ability to do it with this system, and then also to not do it with this system. So it's just like, sometimes baby shit, sometimes baby don't. It's like, which one's going to make baby shit? I don't know.
So for those people who said, why is that so negative? It's not that I'm being negative, but I think, Jacob, you articulated it best. We are so unsure of what we don't know. Like last season, I knew we were going to win some games. Even if we didn't win, I had a confidence about my team. That's why we can take the piss out of the Red Tottenham, because they were expecting to whack West Ham. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that we can beat AZ Alkmaar, even though we beat them early in the season. I can't tell you that. And why is that? That's why,
because this team hasn't filled you with confidence or any consistency.
I wouldn't even say, I'll be real, yeah. As much as I think that this team is the main issue, I think this team has showed us from those 2 cup games that when it comes to, like Alex pointed earlier, pressure, this team will just succumb to the pressure so easily that in these big moments, you can't trust these players in particular, but also just Spurs. I'll be honest. Look, we're all old enough. I'm sure all of us grew up watching us with some of our best teams. You know, the Bales, the Modrics, the Van der Vaarts. We played Europa League football those times. And we went up against the FC Basels, the Anderlechts, and these types of teams. And they used to knock us out. So for me, I think the biggest issue and why I'm starting to lose confidence in doing anything in this is because away from home in Europe, we're just rubbish. Dynamo Zagreb 4 years ago, we went away from home and lost 3-0 to a team that we had already had a 2-goal lead up on. Like, I feel like with Spurs, sometimes it's just inevitable for them to let you down when, like you said,
it's got to
Spurs
change
it. Favorites. But it does have to change at some point. And I suppose that's where the question lies. And I want to go to you guys. I suppose going on to Alex, do you have any confidence that anything can be done in this competition, despite, your disbelief in the manager?
Listen, the thing that's in our favour for this game, for the away game, is that we've got a week off. That's the only thing that's the only thing we can say.
Because it's next week, midweek, isn't it?
Yeah. So because we're not in the FA Cup, aren't we? So we've got time to prepare. And then I think after that, I think it's after that. I think we've got Bournemouth, and then we've got the second leg, I think. So, I mean, listen, I think we need to prioritise this, because he did say that, he normally wins in his second season. And I think this is important for him at the end of the day, because, for me, unfortunately, he's put the rod up his own back on this one, unfortunately. So yeah, I do think he needs to prioritize it. It's going to be interesting how he manages the squad, because we all know he hasn't managed the squad better. And he plays the same sort of players as in in history of this season. And to answer your question on the Europa League, I think we have got I wouldn't say a favourable draw, but I mean, some of the teams that are on the other side of the draw, you wouldn't want to be in that side of the draw. You have to say that. But I don't think we're going to win it. No, I think there are clever teams out there, and unfortunately, when you saw because when even though we won the games against Brentford, Man United, and Ipswich, Brentford, I think they should score their chances, even though we did handle the game better, even though I think that was more on the team doing that rather than Ange. Man United were awful. I was there myself, and I regretted taking that ticket, even though I won going to the protest, which was well done for all Tottenham fans going there. Because Man United were just absolutely useless up front. They should have scored at least one. Should have got at least a draw. And I'm still not that confident after Ipswich. I've got to be honest still, because that first half wasn't still great for me. You know what I mean? And then another day, I think they would have scored their chances, and I think that's it. One thing I will say though, Vicario has made a difference.
Huge difference.
He has made a difference in terms of making saves, because he has made some crucial saves that has helped.
That's why United didn't score, by the way, Alex.
Well, yeah, you make your point. You make a good point there, Jacob. Don't get used to it though. You know what I mean. But it is what it is. But yeah, listen. Yeah. I think for me, he has to win the Europa League. For me, he has to lead the win in the Europa League for me to even have. And this is the way I put it: to have the conversation. Right, he'll be the most successful manager of the last 2 decades. Fact, right? I'll give him that. Right? Okay. I have to say
40 years.
Allow it to that and say I was wrong. He proved me wrong about winning a trophy, and now he's the most successful manager, not the best manager. Like Sava corrected me, which was right. The most successful manager in the last decade, but. Right, we're still going to have the same problems in the Champions League.
We'll get to that when it's an actual problem.
No. You know, I can't let it lie. I can't let it lie, Jords. But the point is, though, we're going to have the conversation, because Man United had the same conversation when they won the FA Cup, and look what happened. You know what I mean? So I can't let that lie, and no one's improved, and I still want to coach at my club.
As said here. One step at a time.
We
can't even worry about the Champions League before we
Maiden. I've been here too long, bruv, to not be taken about these conversations, bruv. It's about having uncomfortable conversations with Mr. Box Office in the house tonight, and that's all I need to say, and that's it. Back to you, Jords. I'm done. If you don't know, get to know.
I know, for real. Definitely Mr. Box Office in the house tonight. Jay's back. Before we wrap up, we need to get Jay's thoughts on this. Can you instill some belief in us potentially winning Europa League? And if not, what do you think about the draw, I suppose?
Okay, so I'm a man of science, man of faith. What you want to go with? You want to go with the science and the data?
We'll go with the science. Let's go with the science today.
Okay, the science is it's a tough draw. Yeah, and it's not a tough draw because of the teams we're playing per se. It's a tough draw because the quarters and the semis, second legs are away from home. Which means if I'm looking at the draw, Lazio are probably my pick in the bottom half to make it through to the semis.
100%.
So if we make it past Frankfurt in the second leg away from home, we're gonna basically have to go to the Stadio Olimpico, second leg away from home, get a result to go through.
I'm not confident in that.
I'm saying this is not a nice one. I said man of science, man of faith. You wanted the science. I'm giving you the science. Yeah, I'm just giving you the science. That then on the other side, Bilbao are on the other side, and that's the they're at home if they make it.
If they make it to the final, yep.
So if we make it to the final, there's a chance you're gonna have to play the home team in their home stadium, yeah, to win the trophy. That run is horrific. Yeah, it's a horrific run, yeah, to go through. And if we get there, we'll have deserved it. That's not even to say if like Man United make it or Roma. We played Roma, yeah. They looked savvy. Do you know what I mean? They look savvy. They look like the sort of game, like on a one-off game, they might try a little hit and run. Do you know what I mean? Like, as in like Roma again playing that. So from a scientific point of view, second legs away from home is terrible. Yeah, especially if you have to go to Frankfurt. Ajax second leg, home of one of our best performances or the best results that we've had in the last sort of 10 years. I'm not worried about that. But the Frankfurt second leg would be potentially an issue. The Lazio second leg would definitely be an issue. Alkmaar second leg at home, I'm okay with that. So I point at I think we've got a chance, but I don't even think we can even start thinking about how big a chance we've got until the first leg of the quarterfinals is done. Yeah, that's when we can look at it really. That's when we'll know. Okay, is it what sort of lead if we have a lead in every one of these games? And if we get to the quarters and semis, we must take a lead, yeah, to the opposition, and probably a 2-goal lead. Do you know what I mean?
So no, you're right. You're right. I think, yeah, man, that's exactly what I said. I think the away game is what will kill us in any Europa League run and any European run. You can come up against the AZ Alkmaars and the Frankfurts before you even get to the Lazios and Bilbaos, and I'm worried. I'm very worried.
I'm not worried though. I'm not worried though, Jords. I've got to be honest. I know you need to wrap up the show, Rob, and I know you put it across really well, Jay. But the problem is, Jay, is that I need to see it now, bro. I'm done with this trying to do this tactical rubbish and trying to be all. I'm too old for this, bro. I'm too old. Like I'm just see. It's time for them to start proving it to me, bro. I've been a child seeing this and seeing, oh yeah, I need to be hopeful. I need to be hopeful. Bro, no, it's time for you to start stepping up and showing me something. You know what I mean?
Because I think that's the same point, Alex, man. Like that's why I'm not trying to do the, I've got faith in us winning and keep that, because I just need to look. We all need to be proven. We need. None of us have probably seen a European trophy in our time. I know it's just before most of our time, but
guys,
we know
all work hard, bro. But we all work hard, bruv. We all work hard in life, bruv, yeah? Right? If we don't work hard in life, we're homeless. Let's just just be real here.
You're trying to say we've been homeless as fans.
No. But I'm just saying, all you gentlemen here, right? Work hard in life, bruv, yeah? Right? Because you have to you have to grind. You've got to grind, right? To get where you need to get to, yeah? Because you don't get to where you need to get to not doing nothing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Right. So when you've got to do that, and you've done that for how many years? You've seen Spurs doing absolutely next to nothing. You know what I mean? It gets to a point where you're just sitting there thinking, "Well, I've done more in my lifetime than you've done in your being the Tottenham Hotspur supporter." You know what I mean? So it gets to a point where you're sitting there saying, "Prove it to me, bro. Show me, And that's where I'm at the moment, bruv. That's where I'm at. Because it's time. It's like it's not even negative. Deji says he's negative. He's not negative. He's just saying how it is. You know what I mean? He was he's twerking for this manager first part of the season, like when he started. Now look at him now. He's grinding it down so much.
He wasn't twerking. He was shaking his bum violently.
Shaking his bum. Shaking his bum. You know what I mean? So it's just like I'm just being honest, bruv. I'm just being honest. I need evidence. You know what I mean?
No, we do.
You know what I mean? Because I'm tired of just they haven't seen the same thing. You know what I mean? Big up to Jacob, because he gave me energy tonight. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because I didn't have energy tonight. I've got to be honest. You know what I mean? So big up to Jords for getting Mr. Box Office back in his bills. But back to you, Jords, because I need to wrap the show anyway. But back up to
yeah. No, look, what we are gonna do is, for one, big up to all the panelists that came on: Jay, Jacob, Deji, Jay, Alex, everyone that came on. Look, all the people's channels and where you can find them is in the description of my show. So just go into the description. We can't fit everything in the title no more, but in the description is very easily located. You just tap on their name. It's just an app, and you can show some support to all the guys over here. Follow them, and you'll see them on their channels. This is going to take you over to Ash's show. So if you want to hear some more Spurs talk, you want to hear about them talking stuff, then please stay in here. Just put in a little DRD raid so he knows you came over from here. And yeah, man, look, big up to Ash. We're aiming for 50 likes. We're on 46 at the moment. So if you haven't liked the video, please do like it on your way out. But again, I can't express it enough. Make sure you show some love to the other creators on here because, hey, this is what Boardroom Talks about, man. It's all a community over here. But yeah, look, big up to everyone that has been inside. It's been another Boardroom Talks back in 2 weeks. And yeah, man, we're out.
Love people.